And good morning, and welcome to Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we are joined by my original co-host when Truth to Power first aired here at the station a few months ago. So it's great to have the team back again together in the studio at WHPR TV 33. And I probably don't need to give too much of an introduction because their reputation is known throughout the communities that they serve. Ladies first, I will start out with Miss Letitia Sharp, and everybody in Washington County knows Miss Sharp. They especially know Miss Sharp now.
Yes.
So she's out and about in the community, visiting, doing all of the things that she needs to do to make certain that she has a presence there for the next whatever years in a specific capacity. We'll just we kind of have to kind of float around that part.
Right.
But and then also we are also joined by Mr. Norman Clement. Mr. Clement, as everybody knows, he's the president.
I am the founder of Detroit
Change Initiative. So we all got that memorized now, Norman. So that's scripted already. So you don't even have to wear a shirt that has that on there now. We know automatically when we see Norman Clement, we know Detroit Change Initiative. But again, it's great to have you two back in the studio
It's
again.
good to be back. Thank you.
But Letitia, Norman, we know that this is a very, very crucial point right now in American history.
Yes.
Because we're really on the precipice of a lot of things that are getting ready to go on. As both of you know, we got an election coming up November the 5th. And that election is between two individuals that are vying for the presidential spot.
Right.
One is trying to become a return president of the United States. He was number 45, and he's trying to also be number 47.
Right.
And then we are also looking at the campaign of our current vice president, who is vying to make her story, as I keep saying it, as the first African American female to be the president of the United States. So since we've got a special guest that's going to be calling into the studio, shortly. But one of the things that I wanted to do was trying to get your, until we get our special guest to come on the air with us. Just give me your impressions, Letitia, Norman, about the vice presidential candidate debate the other day.
I thought it was a boxing match. It was a civil debate. And I think it was a debate where that Midwestern nice candidate, I think Waltz did a great job on that. He started off nervous, of course, like anybody. But also, what I admired about him, that when something that he misspoken, he admitted to how he misspoken and honored, like, hey, I made mistakes. And I'm not, I'm human. I make mistakes. And he honored that and still carried the conversation on. I also thought that, J.D. Vance is, a chameleon. Very slick style. But two folds happened. One, he was auditioning for himself to survive this mess, what's going to happen. But also, too, what he did was this. He had to bend the knee on the last question. It was a boxing match. He had leading the points. And then at the end, the last round, when you couldn't answer that question, did Biden win was the president of the election 2020? Was it a rigged election? When he could not answer the question, he could not tell the truth, everything he danced around and everything he worked on went away, and people saw the lie.
Okay.
Yes, it's true.
Well, Letitia, I know I'm going to save you after we come back from our guest. So you definitely want to stay tuned because Letitia Sharp will then get an opportunity to give her comments about the vice presidential debate. But we are currently joined by renowned comedian and actor, and it is a plum pleasing pleasure for Watkins Broadcast to have Mr. Tim Meadows on the line with us. Mr. Meadows, it is a pleasure to have you on Truth to Power today.
Good morning.
Good
How
morning.
you doing?
We're doing well, and I am joined by my two co-hosts, Ms. Letitia Sharp,
Good morning.
and also by Mr. Norman Clement.
Hey,
Good morning to both of you.
But we just want to, just kind of give you a nice, warm welcome about, from the stations here in Highland Park, Michigan. And we want to give you an opportunity to go in any time that you have an opportunity to come to the Detroit area, to please come by, see us. We'd love to give you some additional airtime to see what you're doing, what you're up to in the Detroit area, and to get a chance to go in and help promote whatever it is and the causes that you may be feeling during that time, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I moved back to Detroit about 5 years ago. So I'm around here a lot more than you would know.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, we definitely want you, Mr. Meadows, to say that, hey, whenever you're in the need to go and have a event or effort covered, that you will come to TV 33 and get a chance to promote that. So we definitely want to give you an opportunity to say that with us and to be a part of our station whenever we need to go and assist anybody. And we definitely want to extend that invitation to you. But we know that you're here for a cause. This go round.
Well, definitely. And it was great to hear the conversation that was happening right before you got me on the air. But yes, I'm in Detroit right now, and I'm going to be at the Black Star Strand Theater in Pontiac, Michigan on October 12th. And we are having a night of comedy. It's called the Comedy Caucus. I'll be hosting it, and there's about 10 stand-up comedians from around the country, all women. Okay. And I'm going to be hosting them. And we have a musical guest, Michael Shannon, the actor, and he's also a singer and performer. And he's going to be performing music. And it's all for the Governor Whitmer's Fight Like Hell PAC, and with the proceeds to go to the Harris Walls campaign.
That is wonderful, Mr. Meadows. We are so happy that you were able to join us today. I am excited to know that you're here in Detroit, so that means you are one of us now. So we don't have to invite you home, right? You are at home. And so we know that we're 30 days out today from making that historical opportunity to have our first African American woman as president of the United States. My question to you is, and you're doing great things with the Fight Like Hell PAC, and I'm glad to hear about the comedy event. But from your perspective, what could other entertainers do to really get involved in this campaign? We can't sleep these last 30 days. So what would you suggest others do, to get involved like yourself?
Well, I think getting out there and supporting the campaign, around the country, going and visiting the campaign offices is a good thing to do. Sort of encouraging those people that are out there doing the hard work. Mm-hmm. I think that's one thing you can do. Donating money, of course, is very helpful. Mm-hmm. And, but I think, and getting out there and just speaking up, getting out there and saying what giving your viewpoint about issues that you might find important, things that you might be fighting for. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I think I can't speak for other celebrities because I've never been a very political person. I've only donated money, to campaigns, and but I kind of felt like this campaign, this political season, I couldn't just sit on the sideline.
Right.
I really felt like I had to step up and do something.
We certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that. And then with this event going on October the 12th, is there any other events that you got planning going on for political outreach you're doing with the Whitmer PAC, like canvassing or going to some wholesome rallies or anything like that?
For me, myself, yeah, I'm actually going to be going after next week because I've been really working on this event. So I've been focusing on that aside from all the other jobs I have, and also being a father. But I'm going to be coming back the following week to do another event with the Detroit Pistons.
Awesome.
And during that week and all the way up until the election, whenever I'm in town, I'm going around to help the campaign offices. I'm going to go out, pass out, make phone calls, pass out pamphlets or whatever, go door to door, whatever I got to do. I really want to win Michigan. I really want this our state to come through.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Well, it's so interesting, Mr. Meadows, that you mentioned about the Detroit Pistons. Now, if we can get the Pistons to be as engaged in the postseason as what the Detroit Lions and the Tigers are. So I hope that maybe you can kind of bring some of that energy to the Detroit Pistons when you see them.
Yeah, well, I got season tickets, and I've had season tickets for probably like the past 10 years or something, man. And I'm a loyal fan, but like this past couple years, it was hard to renew those tickets. I was like, man, I don't know but they got to work a little bit harder. Even when the guy called me about renewing it, I was like, listen, you got to make some changes before I buy my ticket again. But I love, the thing I will say about the Pistons this coming season is they remind me a lot of the Tigers last season. They had this young team. And this year they got this really young team that can occasionally explode at the right time, and I think the Pistons are lined up the same way. I think they got a really young, good, healthy nucleus, and I just think I hope they get a leader on the floor, My dream was I was hoping they would get Chris Paul during that little period, but they need somebody like him, somebody that can come in and run the floor, show them leadership, But what do I know? I'm just a season ticket holder.
Well, we're going to get back to the season at hand here.
See, this is amazing. We talk about sports like that. We have to throw that question
season ticket holders in this one, right? We are excited. We know that the vice president is in Michigan today, and I don't know, she's going to bouncing back and forth to all these swing states. But I like what you said. Michigan has to come through. And so we need to get the message not out to the voters that are voting and who have voted, but how do we get the message to those who just think, oh, either she's got it in the bag, I don't need to do anything, or those who are just not engaged. Help us to try to figure out. I liked how you said you're going door to door. That's happening in Washington County as well. So if you ever want to go to Washington County, just let me know. But it's nice to go to when you knock on a door and you see a celebrity at your door and they're advocating for something so serious. How do we get that momentum going for those folks who are just not, for whatever reason, just not engaged?
Well, I think it's up to people like us to get those people engaged. You got to make sure that your cousins and your sisters and your grandmas and everybody else vote, and get out there and do it. It's like I have this, capability of like producing this event, but like I'm only going to get a certain number of people to vote, but like you can do the same thing. You can talk to your grandparents and your cousins. You got the outreach just like me. And, and I'm, like I said before, I'm the least political person. I've sat on the sidelines for a long, but you got to realize is like we've lost rights in the past 4 years.
Right.
We've lost rights. And it's insane. Right. And if you think we're not going to lose more, you're kidding yourself. They will chip away at the right, our everyday rights, freedom of speech, and women's rights. And like I said, I get a little, you hear my voice going up. I've had coffee this morning.
Right.
But no, you just got to get out and just let people know it's important. Like you have to make the difference.
Right.
You have to make the difference. Right.
And we agree, Mr. Mills, we appreciate that. And then so many folks are getting involved. Also, we're talking about far as the topic of black men in this engagement election this season. And talking about far as how important black men play a role representing political and civic engagement. And also talking about early voting. So how does you as a black man doing this work, how do you see yourself really talking to other black men that may not be still have some bias or still dealing with disinformation. How do you deal with that?
Well, I don't have time for lazy, lackadaisical attitudes toward politics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that's the way you, like, if you're one of those people like, I don't care, I don't have time for you. But if you're a person that cares a little bit, then you understand, like, how important this is. And I think for fathers, African American men, I think first thing is how you present it to your kids. And they see you voting, they see you taking politics seriously, they will take it seriously. Like, I have two sons, and my ex-wife and I are both very politically aware, and we raised our kids that way. And my oldest son became a poli-sci major in college. He works for a action group in Washington, D.C., and he cares about politics. And it's going to continue on, but I think it starts, with what you teach your kids and being a representative of the things that you believe. Activation, breeds activation. I think, kids see you doing stuff and they see how proud and happy and they see the difference that it makes and it brings it out in them,
Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, Mr. Meadows, too, that we had the esteemed Congressman Jim Clyburn on the show with us a couple of weeks ago from South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that he was saying to us, we got to talking about Project 2025. And he made mention and said that Project 2025 is like Jim Crow 2.0. And mm-hmm. I'm sure that you've been, in terms of, say, hearing a lot about Project 2025 and some of the things that Project 2025 can do to us, to our legacy, to your sons, and could be even their sons or their daughters. So any comment that you'd like to make about Project 2025?
Well, I'm not a political person. I mean, I'm no expert, so I'd have to leave all that to the experts. Just from what I've read, just in general, I don't appreciate it when there is when studies are done about how to change government, how to change and cut social programs, and it's done on a sort of secretive basis. Right. Like, I don't trust those kind of studies, and I don't trust those kind of, whenever the seed of an idea is what I would call evil or bad, mm-hmm. I don't trust the results. I don't care what you tell me. I know, as a kid who grew up on welfare in Detroit, in Highland Park, that people need social programs. They need them. They don't need them cut. They don't need Medicaid or Medicare cut. They don't need Social Security cut. These are programs that the government we've had forever, and we are dependent on it, and we deserve it. We have the right to these programs that we have paid into with our taxes and everything else. So, like an idea of censoring books and that kind of stuff, or just getting rid of the Department of Justice. I just think I don't like it, and I don't like the idea that these things are like, they have this plan for our whole country that there was no other input from another side. It's like these conservatives think the whole country should be run this way. Well, the whole country isn't conservative. So why should we have to like live under this thing that you think is, the country should be like? Well, we should have input in it too, because we're part of this country just like you.
Right. And this is why I'm going to steal the name of the pack. This is why it's so important that we together as a community fight like hell to make sure that Kamala Harris is the next president of the United States. We cannot wait on it. I say sleep on November 6th, but between now and then, we need to do what we have to do. And again, still in that name, fight like hell, because I agree with you. Anytime someone prepares a document and details how they can release you or stop you from your human rights, then you know that they mean business. So I appreciate those comments, and I appreciate you.
And like I said, to have something like that without any kind of input from anyone else, I don't think it's fair.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and definitely with that, the addition of what they're doing, talking about amending, abolishing the 19th Amendment, giving women's rights to vote, is something that we as definitely need to take that seriously. This is something that's been planned for a long time, and they're really coming out the woodworks right now. And Mr. Meadows, I love that your passion's in this work. I got one question. Okay. When are we going to get a ladies' man too?
A ladies' man too?
Yes. I love this. I love that movie back then, man. I love that movie. As a kid, we were watching it. Yeah. Loved it. Loved it.
Well, thank you. Well, I would say if you start a GoFundMe page.
Yeah, I got
you. I'll put in the first $100.
I got you. I got you.
I put in the second 100.
I got you. I got you.
Well, you know,
right.
Mr. Meadows, I hate to kind of, but since you're a comedian, we can all laugh in here in the studio, you know, by that. But the other question that wanted to find out from you too is that, what do you say to the voters, especially the young voters, that don't think that their vote matters? Because, you know, we're hearing a lot of people now that are becoming first-time voters. You know, we saw what Taylor Swift has got, all those Swifties, as they call them, that are getting out there registering to vote. But for those that aren't as enthused as, say, what her Swifties are or other people that are getting out to vote, what do you say to young people that may be kind of thinking that their vote doesn't matter?
I would tell them that Roe versus Wade is gone as a law for the whole country. So if you don't think your vote matters, the right for women to have abortions or to even consider it as a federal law, something we've had since I was a kid, is gone. So if you don't think your vote counts, like I said, you're kidding yourself. And if you don't take this election serious, you're kidding yourself.
Right. And I guess it's safe to say that this election is no laughing matter, pun to you being
except October 12th.
Except for October 12th. We're all going to come out and laugh and raise money and do what we need to do. Because like I said, we're going to fight like hell to get Kamala Harris in this White House.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, Mr. Meadows, I'm going to ask you again to repeat again. You're going to be here on October the 12th and give the information so that we can make certain that everybody that hears, you know, this show and that listens to you and whatever promos that you may be putting out, we want to give you the opportunity here at Watkins Broadcasting Service to go and get that word out. So again, repeat where you're going to be at on the 12th and what the venue is all about. And like she said, it's going to be Fight Like Hell.
All right. It's the Comedy Caucus is the name of the show. It's going to be October 12th at the Flagstar Strand Theater in Pontiac, Michigan. And it's going to be a night of comedy and music. I'll be hosting your Highland Park born and bred Tim Meadows from Saturday Night Live. I'll be hosting the event, and it'll be featuring female comedians from around the country that have opened for me around the country while I've been on my comedy tour. And Michael Shannon, actor, singer, performer, Jason Narducci, and it's all to raise money for the Governor Whitmer's Fight Like Hell PAC. And we're going to have please register to vote while you're there. We're going to have hats and T-shirts that you can buy to also donate money. And like you're saying, like people wondering about like, well, what can I do? Like I want to do something that helps the campaign or whatever. All we're asking you to do if you want to help is to buy a ticket to watch a comedy show. It's as simple as that.
That's great.
And that's basically it.
That's awesome. So everybody, what you're saying is there's something for everyone to do in this campaign season. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Meadows, we, on behalf of Watkins Broadcasting, we definitely extend that invitation. When you come back here on October the 12th, we hope that you will get an opportunity to go and be back on the show again with us.
Yes.
All right. I will. I'll come and do it live.
We appreciate you.
Oh,
we really appreciate you. And on behalf of Tim, our engineer, Maxine, R.J. Watkins, Henry Tyler, we definitely extend that invitation. Anytime you're in Highland Park, please come by and drop by the station and see us.
All right. Yes,
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you again, too.
Goodbye.
And you've been listening and to our interview with comedian and actor Tim Meadows. And as he was mentioning about Ladies Man 2, so we know what to say about trying to get that generated again.
Yes.
But we're getting ready to take a break, and I'll be right back with my special guest hosts, Mr. Tisha Sharp and Mr. Norman Clement. Stay tuned.
Platforms are engaged. Copy. Get ready to launch your show or product. Periscope ready. We're 5x5 ready to launch. Copy that. Trend worldwide across all major platforms.
Ignition. 3, 2, 1.
The world is waiting. Watkins Broadcasting. More than just TV.
Feel good about your future with tuition-free programs at Wayne County Community College District. Whether you want to be in healthcare, computer science, the culinary arts, digital media, or robotics and automation for the next generation of vehicles, WCCCD has you covered. A full range of programs to achieve your goals, fit your schedule, and give you all the support you need to be successful. All of it tuition-free. Now there's something to feel good about. Register today at wccccd.edu.
Maureen Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by autism is her brutally honest journey filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudinejackson.tv.
And thank you for watching Truth to Power with my special guest today, Mr. Tisha Sharp and Mr. Norman Clement. We just concluded an interview with the esteemed comedian and actor, Tim Meadows. And again, before we took our break, we're looking at a lot of things that he is doing here in the city, in the state of Michigan, along with our great Governor Whitmer and his initiatives to bring an audience that a lot of times is not touched, and that's the comedic audience, that people will come. A lot of times people think that they go to some of these political rallies. We know that Vice President Harris is going to be here in Michigan today up at the, she's going to be appearing at one of the places in Flint. So I don't know if they want everybody to know where. I know I just got vetted to go up there and attend this, this event up in Flint today. And I know they're going to have the doors opening up about 1 o'clock, today. So I'm sure that everybody that's going to go up there are really going to be fed a lot of information about Kamala Harris and what she will do as president of these United States. So I know we were talking before we're joined by actor Tim Meadows. I had asked you, Norman, I got your, comments about what you thought about the vice presidential debate between Vance and Walz. But Letitia, I know we didn't get a chance to get your comments. So what did you think of the vice presidential debate?
Well, I think that I think I watched the entire debate, and you have one person who is just, if you know how to connive, if you're a conniver, you know how to lie in a very factual way, meaning you can turn your lies and twist your lies. You can do that so easily. And then you have a person who just to the core of their heart, they're just an honest person. So it's hard for them to even go after someone when it's just not in them to do that. So it's almost like a mean person, a mean-spirited person. So that's what I saw. And there was some feedback saying that, Waltz was nervous and that he seemed to be like he was, a little uneasy. Well, that's understandable because you're trying to speak fact and you know that you're going to be presented with a lie in response. So it's not like the conversation was, you were going to have a reasonable conversation with a reasonable person. So I like the debate, but people will remember the last thing you said. And so the last thing you said, to your point, was J.D. Vance couldn't even answer the question that everyone in America knows. Did Donald Trump lose the election? And that's an easy question. And he refused not. So he is committed to Donald Trump, not the people of the United States or the voters or the citizens. So that's what I thought about it. I don't remember anything other than the last thing that was said. And that's what I remember. And that's what all the voters heard, and just keep replaying it. So.
Well, I think, Norman, to something that you said, that it seemed like this debate was definitely more civil than what the debate was with the two presidential candidates.
Yeah, because it was civil because J.D. Vance he's a Yale law student. He's not from where he's from, because that one lie he told at the end, I look back at the debate, he told a lie. First he said he was from Kentucky, then he said he was from Ohio. Right. Then I said, well, he just lied the whole thing, but he did it a slick type of way. Okay. Then he said, well, it was a smooth transition of power. No, it wasn't. The man didn't even show up on the 21st. Then people discover the lies and lies and lies. So he does it in such a way where he is what we call a chameleon. He's called a survivor. And so you ever see the show Hamilton, and the knock against Aaron Burr is that Aaron Burr had no convictions. He doesn't stand for anything. He just wants to get ahead. He'll do what he'll do to get by. Right. That exactly what J.D. Vance is. Exactly what he is to a T, because his core beliefs in 2025, that means his personal marriage will be dissolved because he's married to American, I think he may be from India or Pakistan, I'm not sure. His interracial marriage will be divided. And so he has no convictions. Right. He just is able to deal with Peter Thiel, some of those tech bros out there, and to get his money and really to do what he does, to sing and dance to get ahead. He has not put any policy on the way as a senator. He has not done anything. Really, it pretty much just sing and dance to the tunes of everybody else. And then also think about the type of person he is that you could go and destroy a community off of one lie because you're not getting ahead. The Haitian community. Right. And you lied about that. Right. And these people are documented, nationalized citizens coming to rebuild a community because the community needs help. Right. Right. And Donald Trump is also talking about revoking their citizenship. And so when he says that, that means he's not talking about just Haitian. He's talking about everybody getting their citizenship revoked. And that's the thing where you have to look and deal with somebody right now that's off his edge. Right. Right. Right.
Well, Letitia, let me ask you then. So when you looked at the debate, and did the numbers sway any at all, do you think, for either the Trump side or for the Harris side, or do you think it's still kind of leveled out where people are already set? I think, like you were saying, Letitia, in terms of say that people are still committed to Harris or they're committed to Trump, and it really didn't sway a lot of voters to change their mind or to support the other candidate.
Well,
But let's see, I can let you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that we have to be careful, Darwin. We have to be careful that we're not, because that debate, they said it was what, 49 to 51, and they were really close.
Right, they said it was real close. Right.
And that's the narrative I think that they want people to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be careful with looking at polls and how these
Mm-hmm.
numbers are really being projected to us.
Right.
We heard J.D. Vance's comments, and we heard Tim Walz's comments, and we need to do an internal audit with ourselves and say, who would we want to be making decisions in the most powerful office in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Someone that, to your point, can lie on a fly and make it sound true, or someone that is committed, have their own personal convictions that they have to live by first, and not wanting to advance to a position just because power is the ultimate thing to have, but it can be dangerous in the hands of the wrong person.
And you said something that were willing to do anything to get by on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then CNN did a poll where Tim Walz's favorability went up by 44%.
Mm-hmm.
So during that race, people like Tim Walz. They like him. And so that may sway some a little bit, but I still think that, I think he did not damage Harris at all.
No.
I think he enhanced it. It may make people more intrigued about it. But at the end of the debate, when they asked college kids from Oakland University, how they feel, it was one young brother that said something. Andre said something that was so poignant that I said, "Thank you." Somebody said something. He says, watch that debate. They did not ask her ask one question about what policy that they're going to put forth because they know she can't. She's the vice president.
Right.
She serves at the pleasure of the president.
Right.
And so for all those guys, especially brothers that come out there, or what policy put up there, she's the vice president. Civics 101.
Right.
That tells you I serve at the pleasure of the president.
Mm-hmm.
Period. If he goes, then I'm the new president. Then I can present policy. That's how it works.
Right.
And so him saying that went viral.
Right.
And the disinformationers can't combat that because guess what?
It's
People
true.
looked up and said, "Oh, she can't predict for policy. What y'all talking about then?"
Right.
That's a talking point off the bat. And I think that was so genius of him where he looked irritated. Let me say this, but that's what he's talking about. Truth to power. Right at that moment, people said, "Oh, she can't do that."
And that's the message we could carry to people when they ask about what policies she put. We can just carry Andre's message that that's not her role to create policy. As president, she's laid out her platform.
Yeah.
She's talking about it all across the country. But far as what policies she put into place now, that will be Joe Biden's job and hers to support.
Right.
Yeah, because I think that people, as you said, Norman, they need to understand Civics 101.
Civics.
And understand in terms of, say, when we were talking to Tim Meadows about Project 2025.
Right.
And, like he was, giving his impressions, especially when you talk about, what the role, because we know that one of the first things that everybody's talking about in Project 2025 is Donald Trump would like to be a dictator, and he'd like to rule the United States as a dictator. And that's something that Kamala Harris is steady saying. She wants to be the president for all the people.
Right.
And she wants to give everybody an opportunity to go and enhance their lifestyle, their well-being, their, social economic class. And also she was talking in terms, say, about affording people the opportunity to go and get jobs, as well as to go and better their education. So I mean, it's so many different things that she's trying to look at, whereas the Democrats are looking at the opposing side with the Republicans and thinking that it's just something to support rich people and not allowing them to go and pay their share of taxes based on the wealth that they may possess.
Right.
But I think the thing is that as Norman, you and I have talked about, many times before, Letitia, we've talked about this, with you on the show, is that we have to make certain that everybody stays woke. And I think that was one of the first questions that you had said to Tim Meadows, was about making certain that we can't let up off the gas and do everything we can. And as you both were talking about too with the entertainers, because that's the same thing. We, I'm happy to hear when he said that he was going to be with the Pistons, later on in the election process, that a lot of the celebrities are really coming out.
Right.
And not just in terms of, say, the entertainment, but also in the sports that's coming out. So I was happy to hear him when he,
I'm definitely happy to hear that. And then also, football season's going on, but the Pistons are very active in voting. NFL has NFL votes. And so what Tim said, he's not just saying I support or doing a comedy show. He's going to doors.
Yep.
He's making phone calls. Yep. He's talking to people one-on-one and say, hey, man, you need to get out the vote. And even talking about that, we're talking about Michigan has a unique situation because we have early voting going on right now.
Right.
Early voting means you got your ballots in your hand. I got my ballot in the mail. Everyone got their ballot in the mail. You can go ahead and put your ballot in the drop box right now and vote today at your comfort of your home while you research your candidates who you support. And you fill out that ballot and you can vote early. The clerks in Oakland County, Washtenaw County, and also Wayne County have done an excellent job extending all options with voting. Right. We're talking about the city clerk, James Winfrey. We're talking about Ms. Miller over there in Livonia have extended all options of voting and also are hiring people to work the polls. And so our clerks are doing the job. It's not going to be a situation where they're underfunded or anything like that. The clerks are do their job.
Right, right.
Our job as an organizer is get people out to vote early. Right. And that goes with just as an organizer working on a C3 side and organizer working on a C4 side, but also really, really talking to people who are supposed to be in charge on the ground at the DNC. We need that same energy too.
Exactly.
And Letitia, I want to ask you, because I know you're in Washtenaw County.
Yes.
What are some of or do you notice there are any differences in what's going on in Wayne County in the election process and the early voting as it may be in Washtenaw County?
So Washtenaw County, we're doing the same thing. Our clerk is Larry Kissenbaum. And, we're very engaged in our community. Our Democratic Party is activating, helping to support all of the get out to vote efforts in that area. And I just want to give a resource out because it helps across the state of Michigan, and that's mivoters.org. And if you go there, if for those folks who said, I don't know all the candidates, or I don't know, and they forget about the other side of the ballot that's nonpartisan.
Yes.
But if you go to mivoters.org, you will see all of the candidates that have been supported and endorsed by the Democratic Party from the top of the ticket all the way to the bottom of the ticket. So you have time, like you said.
Right.
There's lots of time to look at those candidates, read on it. And if you don't know, ask someone, but they have a lot of resources out there. So I'm a resource kind of person. I'm always trying to tell somebody where they can go to get the information. So we have no excuse. We have early voting, absentee voting, day of voting, and all this things that we can do, and we have these resources to support us, to give us that information we need.
And even if you're not registered to vote, you can register to vote with local organizations that are doing voter registration. I know Detroit Change Initiative is doing voter registration, Change Detroit Action Fund, Detroit Action, plethora of opportunities that you can go online to register to vote at the m.gov with on the website right there to register to vote. Even then, if you want to register to vote at the polling locations, early polling locations, you can do that in person now. And so there is no excuse. Well, I got to register, but I got to do my research. Do it on the way you register to vote. Do it right there. So the excuses are out the window and stuff. So
and don't use doing your research as an excuse to delay your voting.
Absolutely.
You can look at your resources. We have shows like this one. We have people coming on all the time talking about different candidates. I think we have someone coming on the second part of the show. So if you know that you have all these resources, use them. Don't wait till November 5th at 7:45 and say, "Oh, I need to do my research." You have do it now. Do it today.
Right.
Yeah, one of the things, because I know with my organization, Detroit Downriver, A. Philip Randolph Institute, we've been steady knocking on doors every weekend, and we're also making certain too that we're dropping literature, putting door hangers up, as well as doing phone banking. So, but one additional something we're going to be doing, because we're also taking people to the polls
Absolutely.
on election day. And we were involved in a lawsuit years past that was trying to deny us the opportunity to do that, but we won the lawsuit, so now we can do that again. So one of the things that I've been charged with in my initiative is that to make certain that the seniors in the senior citizen homes and assisted living facilities can get an opportunity to get out and vote. Some places have voting there at their facility, but there are others that they may have to get around the corner or go a couple of blocks over. And some of them, may be in wheelchairs and may have walkers. So, and we don't know what the weather's going to be like on election day either. So the thing is that we're going to be offering rides, and we're going to have vans that will be able to transport people to the polls. And not only do we transport people to the polls, we will bring them back home.
Yeah. And
the only thing that we can't do, Norman, you mentioned about the C4s and the C3s.
Yeah.
We can't tell, and we don't tell people who to vote for, or we don't tell people how to vote. We just make sure we tell people to vote.
Absolutely. And that's also what we're doing is this election is going to be the most party-filled election in the city of Detroit worldwide. Party at the polls, DJ at the polls. We're hosting a DJ at the polls at Scarefest October 26th. So we'll be there from as soon as the polls open to a little bit after open. But there's a drop box in Palmer Park, so you have access there. And so we're working with the city of Detroit called Detroit Votes. And so we got some programs going on there on October 26th and also October 22nd at Clark Park. Over there, we're doing some event work over there, doing DJs at the polls, having the festive occasion. Because guess what, y'all? Voting should be the most powerful celebrated today, because guess what?
Exactly.
The everyday average man has that one power to say, you know what? I got the power today, and I'm going to exert my power today.
Right.
That's in your hands. So it should be a celebration to get there and support your candidate or throw somebody out, whoever it may be. But you have that power today. So our notion, we're going to change this mindset of voting like it's, I got to do this. No, you got to give it rather like it's a hockey game or a football game. It's a celebration. And it really is. And it matters. All elections matter. I know folks been telling, well, it's really the local elections. No, because the local elections depend on the federal government dollars to get to them.
Right.
So all elections matter. Just like all Black lives matter, Black votes matter, all elections matter. Not just one. All of them matter.
And see, like you're saying, Norman, it's just the basic civics 101. And Letitia, I know you know what goes on in terms of, say, in the Treasury Department out there at the Washington County. So the key thing is that people have to understand how the Treasury Department works, what the clerks do, and other people, in civic, engagement when it comes down to local and state and county governments, as to what they do. So the key thing is that we want to educate people every election on especially who's running, as you were saying, Letitia, and I want you to give that information again so that somebody does want to find out who's running and what they're running for. But the thing is that we want to make certain that every election, people don't sit it out because they can't think that the person doesn't need their support.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I was talking to one of the former city council people at an event that we gave with the Michigan Democratic Party Black Caucus yesterday. And I was talking to this former city council person And this individual was saying to me, people thought that he did not need their support in the election, which is the reason why they didn't come out to vote.
Right.
And that's as you know, Letitia, as you know, Norman, that's not the way you look at elections.
No. That is that's the biggest miscommunication I think that we have, that we need to overcome, and we have to do it now within these last 30 days. We have to do it today, because government is supposed to take care of its people, right? And so government servants that we all on the ballot to run to be a servant to the people. That's what I love about Kamala Harris, is that word people. It's the people that we are governing for, that we're making decisions for, that we're acting on their behalf. And it's not just the front of the ticket. If you turn the ticket over, there's some significant judges on the ballot. You know, there's some significant Supreme Court judges and local judges that we all have. They're going to be making decisions on our day-to-day lives, on how they respond to things. So I think that people need to understand, when folks are just in government, they're in government for one or two reasons. One, because they really want to do the work of the people. That's just who they are. And then the other reason is because they want the power that brings. And so if it's that latter of the two, you don't want that person. You really don't. Because like I said, power can bring out the worst character in someone. But if you have someone that is in any of these roles and they put people first, then that's who you want, because they're going to be acting on your behalf from the local level. If you're talking about the treasurer or the clerk or the sheriff, prosecutor, all the way to the top of to the senators and to Supreme Court justices, and all the way to the top of the ticket. If any of those people are not people-hearted people, then they're not going to know how to produce that out. So we have to be careful, and we have to be diligent in making sure that we look at everybody on that ballot and make sure that they get in. So my website again is mivoters.org. Look on that ballot, flip it over, see who's been vetted, who has been looked at, who has gone through all the forms to be able to make that list and cast your ballot. And I think if you have questions on any of those candidates, they have information, call them up and ask them and say, you said this, I'm kind of confused. This is the time to do it.
Yeah. And we're doing absentee ballot chase, making sure that, hey, you got an absentee ballot. Make sure you vote. Yes, you may get tired of those text calls from our organization. You may get tired of me calling. It may be my colleagues or some volunteers calling your phone saying, hey, Ms. Andrews, it's 2 weeks to the election, and we know this. You ain't turn your ballot in. You need help. You need to know where to go. Make sure you turn that ballot in. Our job, we're doing absentee ballot chasing, making sure votes get that ballot in on time. Make sure you have any questions, refer them to the right website, and just do it that. Yeah, I'm gonna get on everybody's nerves for the next 4 weeks.
Right.
You get bad at me, you cuss me out on the website, whatever you want to, but I'm doing my job. Our job is to get people out to vote. And if you got a ballot in the mail and you're waiting on it, I know what you're waiting for. I'm going to call you. And so you see my face, you know I'm from Detroit. So I'm not somebody that's on a teleprompter from India or anything like that. Right. I'm here. And so making sure that you turn your ballot in.
Right.
Well, you know, it's so important now, because a lot of people don't understand why the two people that are running for the office of President of the United States are here in Michigan so much. Because from what I heard with the Harris campaign, they're going to be here every week. So at least once a week they're going to be here. And then I'm hearing also from the Trump campaign that they're making a lot of stops here.
Right.
You know, and I like, before we take our next break, if you both can address, why is Michigan such a battleground state? Because it seems like, you know, all three of us have voted in a lot of elections, but this seems to be the most amount of attention that I've ever seen the state of Michigan get when it comes to this, to the elections?
Because of two things. Number one, 2016, Donald Trump won the state by 20,000 votes. And people stayed at home. Michigan was taken for granted. In 2020, when everybody was at home in their homes, Biden won the state by 150,000 votes. So it is a purple state. If you get Michigan, if Detroit comes out 50%, 51%, 45% higher, Democrats win the state. And Michigan drops anywhere below 40%, Republicans win the state. This is about turnout. This is about turnout, turn up, get folks out the voters right now. 18-year-old people are coming out. You're talking about a group of people who did not vote in 2016 and 2020. They're coming out to vote, and that's huge. That's why they're here.
Yeah, because I think that's really critical, right there, is to make sure that people don't sit this one out.
No, we can't afford to.
And that's what we have to make certain of. Well, we're going to take a break, and I'll be right back with my special guest host today. This is Tisha Sharp. This is Norman Clement. I'm Darwin Griffin. We'll be right back, so stay tuned.
Feel good about your future with tuition-free programs at Wayne County Community College District. Whether you want to be in healthcare, computer science, the culinary arts, digital media, or robotics and automation for the next generation of vehicles, WCCCD has you covered. A full range of programs to achieve your goals, fit your schedule, and give you all the support you need to be successful. All of it tuition-free. Now there's something to feel good about. Register today at wccccd.edu.
Hi, I'm Eric Segre, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Your radio is now on TV. Your TV is now on radio. WHPR 88.1 FM can now be heard and seen worldwide. The same platform that hosts all of your favorite content now has WHPR TV and radio. Have your own radio or TV show on Roku with approximately 8 million homes. Debut your music video, clothing line, church ministry, plays, or products. A limited number of slots are available, so act now. For more information, visit RokuDetroit.com or call 313-868-6612. You heard about it. Now come be a part of it. Roku Detroit Worldwide. Approximately 8 million viewers.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Claudine Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by autism is her brutally honest journey, filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudinejackson.tv.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show, Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Truth to Power. And I am Darwin Griffin, your host, with my special guest host, Norman Clement, Ms. Tisha Sharp, and many of you that kind of sway their head or they snap their fingers to the music when they hear the music to come on. Ms. Sharp, I'll let you tell who that is that's performing.
That is TMF, The Music Forever, and that song is called Choices, and it was written by Rome, one of the original, actually the only original member of the Frankie Beverly and Mays group. So that's what that song is.
It's a beautiful song.
Yes.
I mean, every time I hear that song, I'm always thinking Truth to Power. So, but it's great. And we definitely want to go and again extend our condolences to Frankie Beverly, and his family. Have they made any, Letitia, can you give us any update in terms, say, on the arrangements for Frankie Beverly?
Actually, the family has made arrangements, and they're kind of keeping it private and handling it that way. But the band is traveling to, the TMF band is traveling to Texas, actually, while we're speaking, and they're doing a performance, a tailgate performance in Texas, and they'll be doing a lot of the music from Mays and obviously promoting their own music. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And then we're hoping that we can get the person that wrote the song.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he's
Choices.
coming on the show.
Come on the show with us.
Right.
Yes,
he's coming.
Oh, definitely. That's great.
Get him on the show to, and talk about how he composed the song and everything. So
yes, he
definitely
said he
look
would
forward
love
to
to
that
come.
as well
We're
too.
looking forward to it. Yeah.
Good. And then we just also want to extend our condolences to we lost another actor, and that was Mr. John Amos.
Yes.
And a lot of people, know John Amos from a lot of different, from television, from movies. I think some people, when they think of John Amos, they think about Good Times.
Yep,
Exactly.
Good Times.
But also, too, a lot of people don't realize, too, I was talking to one of my fraternity brothers. I'll throw his name out, Curtis Johnson, and we were talking about the fact that here, John Amos was also in the Roots documentary, in the docuseries Roots.
Yeah.
So that's something that a lot of people don't really realize. That there's a lot of movies and a lot of TV, appearances that Mr. John Amos. So we want to also extend our condolences to the John Amos family, as well during this time.
And just one thing real quick, Darwin, he was a lot of folks' father, like a true image of a father in that era, because that's a time that you didn't have a two family, mom and dad and the family during that time when Good Times was airing. So, he was like everybody's father, that was trying to keep the family together,
Yeah, and then I think it was so interesting because then I think that after they had seen Good Times, then the father that pretty much like epitomized all fathers was probably Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby,
Cosby
show.
And they were too extreme.
Exactly. But I thought that he was, like I said, just a great actor.
Yes.
And he really made an impact in every role that he portrayed in. So again, he will surely be missed.
Yes.
By the entertainment, field. But Norman, I know when we went on break, we were talking about, as everybody knows from Politics 101, they know that yard signs don't vote. They know that when people ride up and down the streets and they see yard signs on people's lawns, and they'll see, the yard signs or the lawn signs right there on the corners, or on gas stations, right there on the lawns of gas stations. The party stores, the supermarkets, and other places. and some even abandoned lots.
You're right.
But the thing is that people are complaining because of the fact that they can't get access to a lot of the signs now. They see a lot of the Trump signs.
Yeah.
But see, one of the differences that somebody said to me, Norman, was that a lot of people don't realize Trump had his signs from way back in the day.
Absolutely.
His signs didn't have 2024, nor did his signs have Pence when he was his vice president, or even having Vance on the sign. It just says Trump.
Right.
Because I know when I was going to Washington, D.C. last year, I'm still seeing Trump signs along the turnpike when I was going to D.C. And even now, when I ride in some of the suburbs of Detroit, I'm just steady seeing Trump signs. So it's like they could keep recycling these signs over and over again.
Yeah.
But now with the Harris-Walz campaign, that's what a lot of people are really saying. They want to get signs.
Yeah. The thing about, and maybe it might be true where yard signs don't vote in, other states. Michigan is a little bit different. Michigan is where people show their support by yard signs first. You get a yard sign, you also means you volunteered, you donate, you give money, and you're supporting your candidate. Right. And there's a psychological thing where neighbors see, oh, you're supporting them, I'll support them too. So it gets people galvanized to get out to vote, not just to vote, but also to volunteer for that candidate. And so when you see more, you ever notice where folks who run in local elections have more yard signs, they have more volunteers, they have more people engaged? It's a psychological thing. And so yard signs are something where a community together comes, especially in Detroit, we come and show our support. Detroit is a swag city. We're going to take some shirts and stuff like that, but that's how we show our support, our pride. And so understanding that, as a campaign, you're in the city of Detroit, Washington, Macomb. Yard signs are a thing for people's identity and really about supporting the candidate. Exactly. And the thing about it is this, people want yard signs, people want to volunteer, people want to support. And being in this race, and I saw what happened, doing this thing, saw what happened in 2016 and 2020, and look at the comparison from Obama in 08 and 12. You never, ever, ever want to slow momentum because you never know when you're going to get it back. Right. And so when you have the momentum, the energy, the push, and people want to volunteer, even if you don't have stuff to do for them to volunteer, let them volunteer. Oh, we don't have no more phone calls to make, but shoot, you can help do. You can always do doors. Get these stuff out to your neighborhood, your organizations. Get these folks out here to vote. Never turn volunteers away and say, oh, it's too many, it's too much and stuff. So it comes off as you're trying to be exclusive. Exactly. And what's one thing Michiganders hate is being exclusive, because guess what? You need this race. You need all people, not those exclusive people. Right. All people need to be able to participate. And this is not just shared by somebody who is an organizer. I've had other organizations, I have other people saying, hey, when we're going to be open? When are we going to be? Where's the signs? Where's this? Where's this? What's going on? People ready to go. We got to meet the moment, even if they're not open, ready to go. Hey, well, shoot, make some yard signs, something where folks need to get some identity out there. And folks say, we don't have the yard signs, but what you can do is take these leaflets and hit all your doors in your neighborhood and pass it out for folks to support the vote. And you'll find out who all supports her also. And so it's coming up. It reminds me of this. I play football, love football. It reminds me of the Super Bowl when it was 28-3 in the fourth quarter. Patriots versus Atlanta Falcons. At the end of the fourth quarter, it was 31 to 28. Patriots won. They came back. Because guess what? You take your foot off the momentum. Mm-hmm. You do not, when you push it all the way through. And I think as organizers and people who are in this, who've done this political work, we got to sit there and make those phone calls at DC or whoever, say, hey, y'all find a way to get some yard signs and people want to volunteer. Get people out here to volunteer. Get them to do something. People should not be turned away. People should not sit there and say, well, maybe you come back for yard signs. Because guess what? People want to support. Right. Take the support. Right. C3 organizations are doing work on the ground every day, from Michigan Voices, Michigan and the Michigan Black Participation, Tamika Ramsey. They are doing support. Kermit Will, Oakland Forward. People are outside doing the groundwork every day. They need support. They got help. They're doing this way. The DNC could do the same thing. And so we're not turning anybody away. You should not turn anybody away that wants to help. And stop this whole notion of, well, we don't want too much or exclusive. Stop that exclusive game.
Right.
It ain't exclusive.
Right.
It ain't exclusive.
Well, you know, it's so interesting, Norman, when you said that about the perception.
Yeah.
The perception means a lot. And just like when I went out to Des Moines, Iowa, when they had the candidates that were, you know, vying for president back in 2024. And when I was in Des Moines, it was interesting because I was doing some things with Kamala Harris, because she had flew me and some other people out to Des Moines to strategize about her campaign. But the interesting part to me was that when we took the shuttle from the hotel to the convention center, we were seeing all these people on the corners that were supporting Biden, Buttigieg, Warren, Bernie Sanders. We're seeing all these people out and about. And we that were working with the Harris campaign were concerned. Because we were on the shuttle and we were like, well, where's the Harris people at? On the corners, whooping and, you know, and cheering and, you know, and everything like that, waving flags of their candidates. And we were like, well, where's the Harris people at? We get to the convention center. So we met in some of the rooms with other Harris supporters. And when we were there, and somebody brought up the fact that they didn't see the Harris people out there standing on the corners, flagging folks down and honk your horn if you supporting these candidates. The Harris people there looked at us straight in the face and they said, because we're out there knocking on doors. They weren't out there trying to stand on the corners and politicize. They were out there actually in the community, knocking on doors, putting up door hangers on people's, you know, doors, and also putting out yard signs.
Yeah.
So perception means a lot.
And perception lack of perception and lack of seeing, you know, the person out there creates doubt.
Right.
Once it creates doubt, people don't, well, I don't know, I'm not wasting my vote, I'm not doing it. And see, that's the thing, we can't have that right now.
Right.
You have to believe that you have to win. You have to believe wholeheartedly that you can win.
Because just like you said, Norman, people did not think that they were really galvanized around the Harris campaign, because they didn't see all those people standing out there on the corner, you know, cheering folks on to say, hey, when they saw the cars pass by, support Harris, support Harris. But the Harris people were in the community. They were out there knocking doors. They were talking to the people. So that's where that perception, and just like you were saying, Norman, about the signs, people may not see the signs, but that doesn't mean that the candidate is not actively doing
the work. She's doing the work. People need the signs. That's what people ask.
And we need both. I hear both you guys. We need both. We need the knocking on the doors, the hanging the door knockers on. We need the signs. We need flags. We need whatever we need to, because we can't sleep on this. We cannot just do one or the other. We have to do both. And I'm agree with you on the signs. On my street, I have 4 signs in my yard, 4 candidates, including myself, that I am supporting. And you know what I noticed, and I live in a high walker area where I had a lot of my neighbors walk. But one of the candidates on their signs, they have a barcode on it. And I see people on my camera scanning that barcode. You know what that tells me? When they walk by my house, they're looking at my signs and they're going to figure out who these people are. And I also live in an area that my neighbors have shared with me. You know, I don't know, like, who is that person? And if they're someone you're supporting, then I'm going to support them. So what you're saying is signs speak a lot. Sign says that I, the resident who has it on that property, am committed to that person. Right. If it's in a vacant lot, it says, oh, I remember I seen a whole lot of Harris signs. So that means everybody in this community must want Harris. So I'm going to join the pack. Like you said,
right.
If you don't see anything, the perception could be like, well, looks like everybody is supporting, someone else. And they won't vote, or then that's when the doubt comes in that my vote don't really matter because nobody's supporting. So we got to do both. We got to do the signs. I agree with you 100%. We have to quit turning people away. This is to every campaign headquarters that's working to support the Harris campaign. We have to quit telling people that there's nothing to do.
Right.
We all have something to do. I don't care if it's take an old yard sign that you have, recycle an old yard sign, spray paint that bad boy, and write Harris on it, put it in your yard until you get one.
Yeah. And even with that, as a canvasser, if I see support I'm a Harris canvasser, let's see, neighbor got canvassing for Harris and signs of Harris in that neighborhood, I feel more engaged to knock on that door.
Exactly.
And talk about, hey, support Harris, but what about these other down ticket representatives? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I do that. I support here. I'm an energy. I'm in a good neighborhood. Well, if I don't see nothing, I don't know what I'm going to get with.
Right.
And so I may not be so forthright on that door.
Right.
And so it's perception. You got to do both. This ain't the time to, because it's not that you don't got lack of money. Ain't that you got the money. It needs to be the energizers from the organizers to understand that, hey, look, you're not going to sleep till probably November 7th, 6th, 7th anyway.
Right.
I mean, It is what it is. So you might as well go, if I'm going to go 100% keep it going.
Right.
And so this is a message to the team leaders over there. Give folks something to do. Don't turn folks away. Get the signs out there. I know it's a change in there. You give a Harris, Waltz, or HW, whatever. People need the signs. People need to be engaged. People want to volunteer. Accept everybody who's coming to your office to volunteer.
And look at that ticket and get signs for everybody on that ticket.
Yep.
You have to. If a sign isn't available for one, but they are available for those others, go ahead and get that one, because that will engage people too. I've had folks who say, oh, you're who is this person? And you get a chance to talk to them about that person, but I'm going to include all the other ones too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you can engage people wherever they are. You got to meet people wherever they are, but we can't sleep, and we got to use both tactics.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. I was at the Arts, Beats, and Eats. And when I was at the Arts, Beats, and Eats, I was watching people that apparently got Trump signs. So somebody there was passing out Trump signs. So people were walking up and down it was like walking billboards for Trump, with Trump signs under their arms, walking throughout the Arts, Beats, and Eats. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting to me because these were people that looked like me, that were walking with the Trump signs. Mm-hmm. So, just looking at more and more people trying to really promote Trump, and especially walking through it. I mean, that takes a lot of guts.
But I'm sure, I can't prove this, but those folks may have been paid to do that.
Could be.
We're just
not sure. There's an article, Russian TV, RT News. Mm-hmm. Was playing influencers, playing newspaper, hiring people to put same ads out there to promote Trumpism. Those folks are out there. They're out there. They get paid for it. So,
and Norman and Letitia, it was really interesting because when I was there and I was waiting to get something to eat, standing in the line, and somebody had asked one of the people carrying the sign, "Where'd you get that from?" So. It was getting some attention, from people that were saying, where do you get the signs from so they could get? And then I'm seeing more and more people carrying, the signs around. So it was definitely, advertisement for him, and didn't have to have the T-shirts on, supporting. But I agree that there's a lot of people that may be trying to decide who they're going to support. And not just support when it comes to voting, but also support when it comes to dollars and cents, who they're going to support. So that makes a big difference right there, too, when they ride down the street and see somebody, well, I guess he or she must have a little bit of money. So they must have a pretty vigorous campaign. So let's support them, because they don't want to support somebody who's struggling, who doesn't have any money, who doesn't have any yard signs out, doesn't have any volunteers knocking on doors, putting out, kicker cards and that kind of thing. And I know that we in the black media want to see more support from some of these candidates, because they're putting support. I can't turn on TV, and it's not just the stations like 2, 4, and 7, but even when I look at stations like 2B and some of those, they're inundated with a whole lot of support for either the Biden, Harris, Trump, Vance. I mean, you got all these different, and when Biden was running, inundated with all these Biden campaign ads. Now here you have Harris. And it's interesting because it seems like one commercial is for one,
right?
The next commercial is for the other,
right?
Or you may have two back-to-backs for the same candidate,
right?
And now you're even double teaming, because you see two candidates that are being attacked by the other party in one commercial,
right?
So it's just interesting seeing that. But again, I can't say enough about where's the support from candidates that are looking for the black voters. As you both were saying earlier, you got to stay woke, and you can't take us for granted.
Right.
You just can't assume that people are going to go and vote for Harris just because she's black,
right,
and you're black.
Right.
Same thing when it comes down to Trump, and just assume the same thing. So that's the key, is that where is the dollars that they got from all these people that supported when they first found out that Harris was running, when Biden gave his graces to Harris to say, hey, I'm turning the reins over to you. And look at all that, the millions of dollars that black men, black women gave right after the announcement was that Harris was running.
Yeah, and I think that she is now, their campaign are going into those podcast spaces, because she went in on Up in Smoke with two of the former basketball players to talk about her cancer. She's going into those area spaces, which those attack ads been hitting those spaces a lot harder, which is great. Again, my concern is that, hey, that's great. Y'all finally doing that. And the change at the top needed to happen. My thing is this, let's not let up now. Let's get that ground game going. Like I said, run the ball, get on the ground, get those signs out, get the support out, get the volunteers out, and support, because that makes a difference by winning everything by 11 o'clock at night, like Obama did.
Exactly.
It makes a difference.
Exactly. And those big networks are great. I mean, obviously they have the platform, but let's not forget about shows like this one. I mean, we are reaching whoever we're reaching. And so those are people who are probably we're planning on voting, or we're encouraging people to go out and vote and get yard signs and all those things. So we have to use all those grassroots organizations who are definitely in the community to push that information out, because that way we are covered. We're not getting our foot off the gas. We are going to take every opportunity we can from the grassroots organizations, stations, specifically the black-owned stations, because they have a vetted interest. They have a vetted interest. And when people say, oh, I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris just because she's black. Well, being a black woman, I kind of take offense to that. And I'll tell you why. How many times did we have in history, in American history, that we vote for people because they were white or because they were male? Because so let's get past that. Let's look at her record. Look at her record, but then also look at the fact that this is a time that we can make a historical change in a country that we have this should have been a long time coming. But right now we have a qualified person at the top of that ticket. And the only way she'll be supported is if you go down that ticket and you provide her with the support that she needs. And that means vote for everyone on that side of the ticket.
Absolutely.
There's no sense in getting her in office, and she cannot she cannot.
She doesn't
do
have the
anything.
support from
Right.
Congress that
So,
she would need.
Harris at the top, and I don't care if it's a school board member or whoever's at the bottom of the ticket.
Or even on the reverse side of the ballot.
On the reverse side of the ticket.
Right.
Go on that side and say, we're going to give her and everybody else all the support they need.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we've got our last half an hour with my special guest, Letitia Sharp, Norman Clement. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin. Stay tuned.
If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Feel good about your future with tuition-free programs at Wayne County Community College District. Whether you want to be in healthcare, computer science, culinary arts, digital media, or robotics and automation for the next generation of vehicles, WCCCD has you covered. A full range of programs to achieve your goals, fit your schedule, and give you all the support you need to be successful. All of it tuition-free. Now there's something to feel good about. Register today at wcccd.edu.
Maureen Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by autism is her brutally honest journey, filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.maureenjackson.tv.
TV 33 is moving to WHPS TV channel 15.2. Make sure to rescan the channels on your TV. Then go to WHPS channel 15.2 to pick up TV 33 and all of your favorite shows. The move is on, and we want you to move with us to WHPS channel 15.2.
All media platforms are engaged. Copy. Get ready to launch your show or product. Periscope ready. We're 5x5 ready to launch. Copy that.
Trend worldwide across all major platforms.
Ignition. 3, 2, 1.
The world is waiting. Watkins Broadcasting. More than just TV.
All right, you are watching Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, along with my phenomenal co-host, Ms. Letitia Sharp and Mr. Norman Clement. But we are now joined. This has been a star-studded morning.
Yeah.
We also have the Honorable State Representative, Mr. Donovan McKinney, on the phone with us. State Rep McKinney.
Hey,
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How's everybody?
Doing all right.
Doing
Doing all
well,
right.
sir. And I know you have a few minutes that you can pretty much like talk about. You're going to have a pretty busy day because you're going to be with the vice president. And then tomorrow you'll also be with the senator from the great state of Delaware, Bernie Sanders.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, what was it, Vermont with Bernie tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said Delaware. I'm thinking about the president, right, from Delaware.
Preparing
But Vermont,
for the
you're
vice
correct.
president remarks. She's having a rally here today, and we're having a meeting with most of the black mayors across the state, and just strategizing on the agenda to, strategy to try to figure out how to get the black vote out in this election. So, we're fighting tooth and nail, and then tomorrow, we got the big rally, in my district at the UAW Region 1 Hall, in the city of Warren with, Senator Bernie Sanders, the other special guests. But this weekend is prime time. There's a lot of people coming in and out, a lot of surrogates with the Harris campaign, and we're just excited about, making sure that Michigan turns blue this election.
Well, Donovan, we were talking earlier about the fact that here we've got Michigan, looking at it being a purple state. And that's the key thing is that, like you said, we have to look at what do we need to do to turn the state blue. And as Norman Clement, who's one of our special guests on the show today, was mentioning about the fact that here, how many votes Biden won 4 years ago, and then what Trump won the state 8 years ago. So we know that those margins were real, real narrow. So I'm also joined State Representative McKinney with Letitia Sharp, and she also is looking at some things that she's doing out in Washington County that she's looking for some support. So it's important that people get out and vote. And we know usually the presidential elections usually brings more people out than the other elections do. So what do you think, Donovan, in terms of is what your take in terms of the importance of why everybody should vote this election?
I mean, because it's your constitutional privilege, right? And, we can talk about a right versus a privilege all we want, but in reality, everything is at stake. Your ability to, who you marry and where you decide to take your kids to school and, what community do you want to live in? Like all of that is at stake, in this election cycle. And, Project 2025 and what the other side has gearing up, is atrocious. I don't think it should be a place, in our communities for that rhetoric and hatred around that agenda. But in reality, we need to make sure we have our own Project 2025 on the Democratic side to ensure that, hey, we're bringing communities together. Well, we're bridging the gap. We're figuring out ways to put more monies in our areas where people can live and thrive and, have a life that's worth living. And that's really, what we're trying to strive at. And I will say this too, that at the end of the day, there's limited barriers to vote, at least in the state of Michigan. Other states are different. But, based off of voter ballot initiative that passed in 2018, as well as what the legislature was able to do to protect people's right to vote, we extended early voting, so 9 days early voting, 2 weekends ahead of Election Day, you can go vote. You can even register all the way up to Election Day and still be able to vote. There's no reason absentee. So there's a plethora of ways. And then also a misconception, a misnomer, is that felons can't vote in our state, and that's not true at all.
Right.
You can vote. And people can vote while actually being locked up in jail. A lot of folks don't even know this in the state.
Right.
People can vote while being locked up in a jail awaiting trial. As long as you're not, that you weren't, committed of something, and tried, you can still have the right to vote in our state. And so, there's no excuse. Just go out there, find out who you want to vote for and exercise your right, make your voices heard. That's what this democracy is all about.
So, Representative McKinney, we are 30 days from making this historical vote and making our vote count. We know that, you said it well. This is not a time to sleep. we know we need to do, and we know how we need to do it. How can you help us push, get that gas, put the foot all the way down on the gas these last 30 days, and push us to say, don't sleep now? What can we do more than what we're doing now?
Yes, just get on the phone, right? Go to events in the community and let everybody know the critical importance it is to ensure that their voice is heard. Because people really, I talk to folks all the time, and there's still some trepidation around, hey, does my vote really count? Or, does my voice really matter? Mm-hmm. Does it really matter at the end of the day? And I'm like, yes, it does. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about who's at the top of the ticket. Right. It's literally every single election and every single race that's below that ticket that matters. Like, I'm in the state house. There's 19 seats that are up for grabs. All the state houses are up for grabs this year because all of the state houses up for election. However, there's 19 seats that Republicans and Democrats are all focused on. They try to either flip one way or another because it's the first time in 40 years Democrats hold a Democratic trifecta and majority in the House, Senate, and Governor. Mm-hmm. And guess what? The other side wants to take over. And it's only a one seat majority, so it's very fragile. Mm-hmm. And what we have to do is understanding that in these 19 seats, all across the state, it's not just in one area versus another, it's all across the state. Right. That these elections are going to be decided less than 500 votes per district. And so when I say every single vote matters, it does. I know a county commissioner right now that actually won his race a few years ago when he first joined the commission, when he first got elected, by one single vote. Right. And when I tell you, like, elections matter, they do. Representation matters. We have to get everybody out and stress the fact that, hey, your voice does matter.
All right.
Yeah, and Donovan, I got to tell you before, you're the hardest working man in Michigan. Working out there, doing all the stuff that you do. And so, piggyback on that, we talked about far as the energy that was coming out and people want to do something. Where can people go to volunteer to help out on this campaign? Where they can go? So, if how can they help? Like, really, like, I want to work for this campaign. I want to work. I want to help. I volunteer. Where did they go to? Who did they go to?
Yeah. You can just go on people's websites or the Michigan Democratic Party because they're looking for volunteers right now as we speak. So, and they have the volunteer button clear as day on their website and each of the candidates. So, Kamala Harris's website or even Alyssa Slotkin, who's running to be our next U.S. Senator. Like everybody, Kyra Harris voting. That's something we have to mention too. It's not just voting on the Democratic ticket. You have to vote on, the nonpartisan side of your ballot, and that is all of your judges. And who I'm supporting for Supreme Court justices is, our current Supreme Court justice, first Black woman ever to serve on our state Supreme Court, Justice Kyra Harris Bolden. As well as Kimberly Ann Thomas for that open seat. And so, we have so many things, but just go on people's websites, go on social media. There's ample opportunities. Go to their campaign offices. Like, they're accepting as many volunteers as possible because, like you guys mentioned before, we're only about a month out into the election.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jonathan, as Norman was saying, you are one of the hardest working, just like James Brown, one of the hardest working people in politics. And we know you've got to run. But again, looking forward to having you on board with building Black Brickmasters tomorrow from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock tomorrow. So
I'm excited.
We'll be talking about chopping up politics and politics with the examination and doing the MRI on Project 2025 tomorrow afternoon. So we're definitely looking forward to getting your input, on that. So I just want to say, Norman, Letitia, if there's anything, we'll just do right quick, because I know, Donovan, I know you on the run, but is there anything else, Letitia, Norman, just something real quick?
Yeah, just real quick, Donovan, on October the 8th, we're having a Black Male Forum from the National Hip Hop Caucus, Reverend Run. Love to invite you out to come out and support, really talk about the future of Black men in civic engagement. Not just this election, 2025, we also have the mayor's race up. And so we want to just keep that momentum going. So we're welcome to come on out and support.
Yes, definitely. I think I received that in my email. My staff already told me it's on the calendar. I'll be there.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Well, I'm just going to ask you to just tell all of our listeners the importance of voting at the top of the ticket and all the way down the ticket on that blue side, so we could get all of our candidates there. And the mivoters.org that you kind of referenced, that you can get a lot of the information also on the front and the back of the ticket for the nonpartisan races that are supported by the Democratic Party. Can you just support me with those statements?
Yes, please. It is imperative that everybody takes the time to vote. And then not just vote, but vote in the correct way, which is, we got straight party ticket voting here in our state.
Mm-hmm.
You can either, fill in the bubble Democratic Party, and it fills out every single Democrat candidate throughout. But also, like I said before, take the time out to fill out the nonpartisan side of your ballot, because that's going to be critical. Talking to Justice Kyra Harris Bowden, she's ran before for state Supreme Court, and she has told me the drop-off rate between the Democratic candidates and the judicial candidates, and it's extreme, very, very high drop-off rate. And so we need to ensure that we vote and take the time out to vote all of the ballot, all the way down. Not just for president, but every single race thereafter.
Yes, thank you.
Well, my friend, I definitely want to go and tell you that I'd love for you to tell our viewing audience, whenever you're in the great city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Glenda McDonald, you're going to come on what TV show?
I'll give you a hint. Truth to Power.
Donovan.
Yes.
We tried to get you to do a little soundbite to kind of.
I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear. It's like a weird staticky sound on the phone. But if that question was posed to me, yes, I am definitely down. Whatever you guys need me to do.
Gave you a hint.
Well, she was trying to give you the hint to just say, when I'm in Highland Park, Michigan, I will definitely make certain to come to WHPR TV 33 and be on the Truth to Power show.
Yes, when I'm in Highland Park, Michigan, I would definitely be coming to WHPR TV 33 to come to the Truth and Politics show. I'm so excited, man, and proud of you, Darwin. Proud of the whole panel that's on this call today. You guys are amazing, and the reason why I'm doing this type of work.
Thank you.
We definitely want to keep you lifted up, my brother. So again, continue doing the hard work that a lot of people may not have an opportunity to do, and continue being the voice for so many people down, and especially the young voters and the young voices that may not get heard. So we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow with our Politics and Politricks. So again, Donovan, thank you for being on Truth to Power today with Letitia and Norman, and you have a great rest of this afternoon. Stay safe, my brother.
Yes, you guys too. God bless you all.
Be safe out there. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. We have had a star-studded morning.
Yes, we did. It was wonderful, though.
State Representative Donovan McKinney, as well as with actor and comedian Tim Meadows.
Yes.
And in the last few minutes that we have to pretty much like wrap up with, with our show today, I'll give you, Norman, to get get something in terms of say of what you want to do, because I want to do a quick little plug real quick.
Yeah.
And as Donovan was saying, he's going to be our special guest tomorrow that's going to come in and talk about politics or politricks, or is it spiritual warfare? So what we're going to do with the Building Black Brickmasters is we're going to go and do an examination on Project 2025. And just as we were asking Tim Meadows about his views about Project 2025, we're encouraging people to come out, especially a lot of young Black men that may be on the fence, that may be indecisive about what they want to do, or thinking that their vote or their voices doesn't matter. But we're going to be doing this tomorrow. It's going to be at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, the historic Shrine of the Black Madonna, and it's at 7625 Linwood, and it's right there on the corner of Hogarth. And it's going to be from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And, we want people to come out. This is not an opportunity to hear people get up and be preachy about why you should vote or who you should vote for. This is an opportunity for people to ask questions about what they think has been going on with the political parties, what they think has been going on with the campaigns that people are disseminating out to the people in the community, and to dispel some of the misinformation and the disinformation that people are getting through a lot of the monies that's being spent. I mean, as we talked about earlier, there was a vice presidential debate that has some misinformation that was disseminated out by both candidates. So we're not just going to say just by one party or one candidate, but by both candidates. It's the same thing when it came down to, you have fact checkers now that check everything that the candidates are saying. So sometimes they don't even let the debate end before they're doing fact checking, as well as the moderators have people in the, behind the scenes doing fact checking before the debate concludes. So that's really a different dimension about what's going on now with these debates. And hopefully there will be additional debates. I don't think that Trump and Harris are going to have another debate. I think they're content with having just that one, and they're content with just the VP candidates having their debate. But now there's the possibility too. You may see a Slotkin Rogers debate. You may see candidates that are running for Congress that may decide that they're going to debate one another, as well as even there's a lot of candidate forums for those 22 people that are running for your support for school board in Detroit. So there may be a lot of issues that may be talked about, and we'll just have to kind of keep abreast of some of those things. But Norman, I'll give you an opportunity to kind of go into a little bit about what you're doing and some of the things that you want the viewers to be aware of.
Yep. So to be aware of what we're doing here, number one, tomorrow I will be at that Brick Masters event, understanding politics and politics. But also we are doing some outreach, continuing outreach, door knocking, doing phone banking and calls, still doing after school programs, and working with students. But on October 8th, the National Hip Hop Caucus plus our Motown Detroit Museum, we're putting together a Black Men's Forum, Black Caucus will Respect My Vote campaign, really talking about civic engagement, what's been going on in the community, and not with just us being preachy. We're not being preachy. We have inviting all leaders, groups out here, Black men who are leading these civic engagement talks. Not just talking, we're not pontificating pontifications. We are talking about what strategies work for us, what they're doing in the community, and also how we could plan together and harness this energy, not just do a one-off, but also focusing on 2024, getting out the vote, but also being strategic on what's going on in 2025 with our local elections. And I think that's what we're going to be understanding, letting people know that, we're going to wait to the local. No, all of it's important because the local money does come from federal government, bureaucrats who's in charge. So understanding that, putting that mindset together to say, well, the local may impact you more, yes, but all of them are more important. So that's what we're doing, working on. We're still doing voter registration, still getting out the vote. We're still doing phone calls. We're still got this thing 100 miles running. So again, all are welcome. We're letting people out there. There'll be free food, beverages there at the Garden Theater from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on October the 8th, Tuesday. It's a Tuesday evening, but you'll come in, you're welcome to come to the Garden Theater right there on Livernois. Let me give you the address here. I had it run up at the Garden Theater at 3929 Woodward Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48201. So right there in the heart of Detroit, going down next to the amphitheater, next to the Block restaurant right there. We'll be there from 6 to 8, having a conversation with Black men, really focusing on civic engagement, what it looks like from the grassroots all the way up to those who are running major organizations on the local on this level.
Give that address again. I know it's just south of Mack Avenue.
Yeah, south of Mack Avenue,
Woodward.
Yep, it is 3929 Woodward Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48201. The Garden Theater.
Oh, just north of Mack.
Just north of Mack, right there, next to the Block restaurant, and they own the Garden Theater. So we're working with them. So we have Black Men, Better Men Outreach, Force Detroit, Seed Now, Oakland Forward, Promote the Vote, Detroit Action, Michigan United, Detroit Change Initiative, Sound Mind, Sound Body, and also the Samaj Morgan Foundation. So we'll be there hosting the event this Tuesday, and really getting folks out there to really talk about engaging, but not just doing the one-off. Next meetings are coming up after that, and really push that forward.
Yeah, I know Otis Bellinger.
Yes,
with that organization, and he does a lot of great things when it comes down to young minds, especially with a lot of young men.
Yes, sir.
So that's a great cause, and I'm hoping it is very, very well attended.
Yep.
Letitia?
Well, I'm going to take it at Washington County. And there's a small organizing group in Washington County, and they call themselves the Just Do Something. And they're hosting a Get Out to Vote and rally tomorrow, Saturday, October 5th from 12 to 4. And it's also to register. They'll be registering folks to vote right on the scene. And they'll be trying to encourage folks to come out and vote. It's on Tyler Road in Ypsilanti Township. There'll be some speakers, and yours truly will be one of the speakers.
Will you?
Will
you now?
Yes, okay. And then we will be, we are just standing together. So again, October 5th on Tyler Road, and the organization is Just Do Something. And that was deemed from Michelle Obama's tagline at the DNC that says, Just Do Something. So they organized to do just that. And that's what they're doing tomorrow on October 5th.
Okay, so anybody that wants to get a chance to go and meet Letitia Sharp,
I will be there.
She will be there.
Yes, along with other speakers in the community.
Okay,
yes.
That's great. Well, I just want to, make one other announcement too about something that Western Wayne County NAACP is having their Freedom Fund dinner, and it's going to be on the 20th of this month, and we've got a lot of people that will be honored. We're going to be giving awards out to a lot of people. But one thing that we're very, very fortunate is that we have none other than Andrea Hunter that's going to be our keynote speaker for the event. As most of you know, I am her vice president for Detroit Downriver, A. Philip Randolph Institute, and we are very pleased to have her to come. She's spoken at so many different events, and just like the last Truth to Power show, we talked about how she was just awarded recognition from our governor to serve on a special group here in the state of Michigan.
Awesome.
And so it's giving a person an opportunity to expound in what they do best.
Right.
And so we're fortunate to have her as our keynote speaker. We'll give you more details, in terms, say, about the location is going to be at the Fairlane. I can't remember the exact title of it, so I don't want to give that information out. But it's going to be the 20th of the month. But before we have that Freedom Fund dinner, I'm over the Labor and Industry Committee for Western Wayne County NAACP, and we're having a Labor and Community luncheon. And that's going to be held at, I think it was mentioned earlier, Region 1A. And that's under the auspices of the director there, Laura Dickerson. And that's located at 9680 Telegraph.
Okay.
And that's right there located just at Wick Road on Telegraph. But we definitely want you, I'm sorry, I said it's 9650. I should have put my cheaters on. But 9650 Telegraph Road, that's Region 1A, and the time is going to be 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and this is going to be on Thursday, October the 17th. We've got a star-studded panel of speakers that is going to be speaking, including Jerry King, Laura Dickerson, Cassie Jones McBride, Alan Wilson, Andre Washington, and also Assad Turk. And he's the deputy Wayne County clerk under the auspices of the Honorable Warren Evans. So we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be there, and there's going to be a lot of questions, especially how labor, industry, and the community can all work together to make sure that we make this a very effective 2024 election.
So it sounds like we have a lot of events and a lot of opportunities for people to come out and hear speakers and engage. So I hope that people take advantage of that.
I hope so.
I do too. And I think that we'd be remiss if we don't read, Letitia, since you're closer, read what Norman has on his shirt.
Norman Shirt says, when we vote, we can change the world, and we can start right here in Michigan.
Right here, right now. And you heard this right here, right now on the Truth to Power show. So fortunate to have the team back.
Yes.
Letitia Sharp, Norman Clement. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we will see you very, very soon.
Bye-bye.
Have a great rest of this afternoon.